So I want to murder everybody on the internet.
I mean, I don't know why, but I mean, that makes sense.
Well, earlier today, I was looking on, it was the comments of...
Pornhub?
Maybe. It was just, I'm sure it's on there too. It was the comment section of some fucking like video or picture. I forget what it was. Something on Facebook that was unrelated to anything involving movies, superheroes, anything. And literally like the fucking second comment was somebody with a whole list of Endgame spoilers. And then it was, then I looked through like different things on Facebook, and 4 or 5 times on each post, some dickhead had copy and pasted that exact, like it's just going around. What would make you want to do that? And then when I was reading the comments of those, and everybody that was mad, they were making fun of, oh, you're fucking mad, you shouldn't be on the internet. And then other people were like, this guy needs murdered, and which is kind of extreme too. But why would you fucking do that? And there was a video, it was a World Star thing. I don't think it was a video, it was just a picture. But some fan or something outside of Endgame in some state, it was outside of the movie theater, just shouting spoilers. And then they beat the fuck out of that guy. Yeah. And then everyone in the comments go, oh, you should have beat the fuck out of that guy. And while I agree, violence should not be the solution to that. What do you think is going to happen to you, though? What are you doing? Like, why would you want to just ruin somebody's night for no reason?
Especially when you know, like, to like a lot of people, that means a lot. How you dumb you might think that is. People have been waiting over a decade for this.
Well, here's the thing. I could almost see doing it, even if you're, still being a giant douche, but say you're doing like one of those dumb prank videos, you're trying to get likes on YouTube or Instagram or something. It's still a fuck boy thing to do. Like, don't do it. But at least I would get that, but just a random post on a comment section that has like a lot, like a sports one. I think one was a basketball thing. They were talking about, LeBron James wanted to change like a crayon color to Nipsey Hussle or color or something, like Nipsey Blue. And I was looking at the comments on that. And then there's like the second one, again, somebody fucking just spoiled Endgame. Unrelated to anything. Why? Like, what are you getting out of that? Are you getting likes and follows on fucking Facebook comment section? Like a random, no, you're not. So you're literally just doing it to be a fucking dickhead.
Well, that's like, whenever I went to go see it Friday morning, I just had, like, I went there by myself, and I happened to ran into, like, 3 guys that I used to go to school with, and I ended up seeing the movie with them, which is kind of cool. That's kind of cool. That kind of shows, like, the kind of movie that this is. That
brings people together.
Yeah. And as, so the movie's ended, and the credits are going, and we're all waiting there to see, if there's any, scenes and stuff like that. And so people, looking on their Facebook, and he just happened to look, and somebody on his, on his feed, I don't know who it was, but, like one of his friends posted, like, a main
spoiler.
Endgame spoiler just as his post. So it wasn't even, like, in the comment section that you could kind of go...
Avoid it just on your news feed.
Yeah.
Well, one of the star players on the Bills did that. He, posted the biggest spoiler on Twitter, and he has like I'm sure million plus followers on there.
And I'm sure that
so even if you didn't want to see it, it was like a sentence long, so you're reading it before you realize what you're reading.
And you gotta imagine that there's people that are set up to like get a notification when that guy tweets something.
So it might even just pop up on the top of your phone without you even going on Twitter. Why the fuck would you do that? You have to. Like, that's not a case where that guy was just being, he was ignorant of nerd culture or something. Like, you're clearly being a dick. You don't spoil a movie's ending, no matter what. And especially the weekend it comes out. So I just fucking hate when people do that. And, like, a lot of them, they're just doing it because I think, like you were saying, the sense of unity and bringing people together. Well, there's some people, they don't feel that. They feel outcast, so they don't like that. So they just want to ruin it for everybody. And those people should be beaten up. I don't murder them or anything or stick their dick in a blender, but punch them in the face.
They catch a quick ass whooping real quick. Like, let's just say, like, I'd like to think if I was out someplace and I was saying I was seeing somebody getting like just jumped or something, I'd like to think that I would try to either not maybe necessarily like jump in there with the guy, but help in some fashion. Maybe get somebody, maybe try to get them to stop.
Yeah.
But like, if I was there and I heard that guy say that,
he's on his own.
I saw that people start to whoop his ass, I wouldn't like be like.
Well, say you just got done watching the movie and you're walking out, you're all pumped up, you got those heroic feelings coming on. You see a guy getting beat up and you run over. Yo, what the fuck you beating this guy for? He just spoiled Endgame. You might just start kicking.
Yeah, I'll kick his ass. Like,
just maybe give him like the fake stomps. You're not really hitting him, but it looks like you're doing something.
Yeah, the old wrestling stomp.
Yeah, like I don't think you should beat the shit out of somebody or really hurt them, but. You know, a little smacking around ain't gonna kill somebody. You just fucking give them a little bitch slap for ruining the movie.
Well, again, that just kind of goes into the culture of nowadays of people because they've never had to deal with consequences or deal with anything like our fathers and grandfathers and stuff like that. Now, granted, they didn't have this kind of stuff back then, but like there were certain like societary rules and guidelines that you followed, or you
step out of line, you're catching ass.
Yeah, you're catching,
and you're not getting in trouble for whipping somebody's ass. Usually, at most, you might get like if you beat somebody up and just in a fight, maybe a cop would like reprimand you, but you're usually not getting arrested back in the olden days.
Yeah. You maybe have to like spend the night in the tank or something.
Yeah, the threat of catching an ass whipping used to be something that would keep people in line, keep you from running your mouth or being stupid or just. Fucking being like an outright racist asshole, just things like that. Now, you can't because you get arrested. Like in school, when we were in school, you could get in a fight and you're gonna get suspended. Maybe you'd get fined if it was a bad fight, but that was usually it. Now they just like you go to jail or something, go to juvie. Like they just try to ruin your life immediately.
Throwing that one punch could just ruin your entire life.
Yeah, which is a lot to put on like a 14-year-old. I think a little punch in the mouth here and there would straighten a lot of people out. Or just, know that they can get punched in the mouth. Like, I think, like, this is why, like, I think it's Oregon or Washington where they have the mutual combat law.
Ooh.
What they do is, and you can watch videos online, which is fucking great. You get two guys in a heated argument, right? And they're trying to scrap or whatever. A cop, if there's a cop around, he'll come up and he'll say, hey, do you both agree to fight? No consequences, so if somebody gets fucked up, nobody's getting in trouble. You both agree to it. It's like old school dueling. It's like, yep, I agree. Yep, fuck you too, Spencer. You agree? Wah, 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 wah. You just beat the shit out of each other. And then shake hands, you're done. That's how it used to go. And that, like, there's a lot less people doing asshole things in that state because of that.
I agree to that to a certain point. Like, there should be, like, a stop. Like if you really fuck somebody up, then maybe
you're not gonna be like kicking. It's more of
I'm sure the cops gotta stop.
Yeah, you're not stomping them in the head or anything. But I feel that's a good law just because it stops those little fucking wienery fuckheads that like to run their mouth knowing if somebody tries to beat them up, they're gonna get arrested. Yeah. Like when a cop's around, they're like, yeah, fuck you, motherfucker, to like Brock Lesnar. Well, when you're in that state and Brock Lesnar's like, I'm gonna fight this guy because he's saying shit about me, and they're like, oh, you wanna fight Brock Lesnar? If that guy says no, he's a bitch.
Yeah,
and that goes against the whole persona he's trying to put out. And if he fights Brock Lesnar, that's a bad move. He's gonna get donkey raped in front of that cop, and the cop is not gonna stop him because even if he goes overboard, when you see Brock Lesnar
who's stopping him
doing Hulk hammer smashes to some guy's head, you're just letting it go.
Yeah, you have to get The Rock to stop him.
Yeah. That's the only plausible explanation is The Rock's on hand and he can save the day. But
to go back to Endgame, no spoilers, but really good. I enjoyed it. Awesome movie. I think like if you ever get around to watching it, I think it's a worth to double back and go into like a little bit of a deep dive on just like on a random episode where we're just trying to get filler for people.
Right. I got you. Well, we're speaking of comic book talk. I do want to bring this up real quick. No, I'm not talking about the Jungle Fantasy.
Okay, I was gonna be like, okay.
Yeah. Well, no, I kind of have to.
Well, bring up the first thing.
The first thing is not... Yeah, you know what? I'll bring up the first thing because it's definitely not as fancy as the Jungle Fantasy. All right. Just some news for all you cool cats out there in the comic book and entertainment universe. Wizard World has announced a new event in Pittsburgh.
Again, after what, like 2
We covered years? The one in 2016, and I was deathly ill that weekend, so I was only able to... We only went Saturday. that was right after we started DPW.
Yeah, that was like a month or two after we first. It
was literally the fucking month after, because we started in, like, officially, like, the first full month was October, and that was in November, I believe, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I was sick as a dog, and we didn't think we were gonna, because we weren't very established by any means, so we didn't figure we wouldn't have, get press credentials.
Yeah.
But we did, so I was like, well, fuck, this is our first big event we ever booked, so I'm gonna go regardless. And luckily for me, it was a shit show anyway. I mean, it wasn't a shit show as far as for us, because there wasn't that many people there. We kind of enjoyed ourselves. But
we go on adventures.
Yeah. But as for the actual, people who were attending or vendors and stuff like that, I don't think anybody there had a good time.
No.
It didn't seem like a very well put together.
Like money-wise.
Yeah, it wasn't a very put together con. But this one, I already talked to our contact because we've already done some Wizard World, so most likely we'll be covering this one.
Hopefully.
Well, we're going to go regardless, but yeah, we're definitely going to get the press credentials again.
It'd be nice to, like, because if not, we'd probably only do one day.
Well, yeah.
It'd be nice to check it out for the whole weekend.
It's very unlikely. I mean, we got Cleveland 2 years in a row, and we're planning on doing Columbus.
And and he'd let us know.
Yeah, well, he always lets us know ahead of time, so most likely we're going to get this one because it's our hometown. It's just... I don't, like we brought it up in the book club yesterday. It's not, like, nobody has high hopes for it because it's only coming out in July.
Yeah, it's very short notice.
Yeah, so the fact they have not announced any celebrities, they haven't announced any artists or creators, there's no vendors. I mean, it's a good chance for maybe some local people to get on board because they see it, and if they're not already booked for something, they can...
Or, like, Wizard regulars who tend a lot of different shows.
Well, I'm sure, but even then, like, they probably thought they had that month off.
Probably, yeah.
So now I feel like it just kind of made a lot of people scramble. It would have been nice to even have maybe this announcement like February or something.
Yeah.
Give a little more, because even me, I was like, well, shit, are we able to cover this? I don't know what we're doing at the time. Luckily, it's a month we're not busy.
Yeah, we don't have any other conventions.
Yeah, because we got a convention coming up this month. I'm going on vacation at the end of the month. And then we got...
vacation at the beginning of next month.
Yeah.
It's like the 9th through 12th or something like that. It's something like that. It's like the first weekend. First or second weekend.
Yeah, so there's just a bunch of things. And but anyway, that's big news for us because now we're going to be back in the Pittsburgh area. And since we're ballers now, we might do this right and actually get a hotel. Because the first year we just went for a day because I was sick. But, we got hotels in Cleveland and shit. Never got a hotel in Pittsburgh.
No, yeah.
Because we only live, half hour away. But I don't really want to drive to and from there every single day for the whole weekend.
Yeah, because just dealing with traffic and gas, and we want to try
Plus, you're going to pay for parking every day.
Yeah.
That's like $10-15.
And the fact that we keep on talking about it and it's something that we need to do, we actually need to start, instead of just going to our hotel rooms after the show, trying to go and meet up with some other creators and people there.
That's a lot easier to do in Pittsburgh because we know Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Cleveland, we went out a couple times just the town to get food and stuff.
Yeah.
And did not feel safe. The first year we went, it was St. Patty's Day weekend. Bad time. And
that's not trying to say anything against Cleveland. It's just it's a major city.
Yeah.
That neither one of us has been to before.
Yeah, we're not familiar with the city. There's no parking anywhere, so we couldn't actually drive anywhere because everything's fucking garage parking. It sucks.
It had to be within walking distance.
And those were all March shows, right? So the weather was not good any time we were there. It was kind of rainy and shitty. And we, got accosted by bums and whatnot.
This is gonna be weird. Not only are we gonna have a show in Pittsburgh, within spitting distance, but it should be within good weather.
Yeah, it's July, so it should be decent weather. It's gonna be weird
because we were talking previously before this. We were talking about going to the Columbus Wizard
World, which is October.
Yeah, just to switch it up from the Cleveland, which I'm sure we might consider still doing. I mean, it's
no, I'm definitely doing the Columbus show.
Yeah, it's far enough away to where we shouldn't have financial restrictions or anything
like that. Not to, besmirch Cleveland, because again, we're not familiar with that town, but I was not comfortable because of the no parking situation and everything. I wasn't very comfortable, because I guess we could have got an Uber if we really thought about it, but I wasn't very comfortable walking around that city. It just didn't seem like a safe place.
Yeah.
But Columbus, on the other hand, I've been to, and I really like Columbus. Yeah. And I had an Airbnb last year there, went to a taco festival, And it was literally in the ghetto. There's people our first night fighting out, like a man and woman fist fighting outside of our place. So I was like, I don't know about this, but even in the ghetto, like nobody bothered us. But outside of like that area, Columbus was really fucking nice.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the convention center and everything's set up, but unless there's a hotel connected to it, we could probably just get an Airbnb there because it's more driver friendly. There's parking in a lot of places, and 2, Ubering everywhere in that little city is like $5.
Yeah,
it's not expensive.
Well, I was gonna say though, if the Airbnb or a hotel not connected, we would have to look at the parking situation then too.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, but just with like the paying for parking at the convention's garage or whatever,
Yeah, well,
set up.
Like I said with Pittsburgh, with the Airbnb, though, like I said, the Ubers are pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like $5. I'll do $10 a day for Uber and back and forth for that. Like that's not a big deal. And like Pittsburgh, it would be more cost efficient, probably not necessarily cost efficient because it's still going to cost us more to get a hotel, but just the fact that we could just walk to it from the event, and not have to worry about parking, and then we can go out to some restaurants and, like you said, maybe meet up with some people. And I'm sure whatever closest hotel, that's where most of the people will be staying, so we could check out like that restaurant or bar that's connected to it. They'll probably be there. So I think it'll be a good time. Transition back to what you brought up, the jungle fantasy.
I just thought that's what you were.
No. At the book club last night, there's this comic series called The Jungle Fantasy. We always make fun of it when we're there because it's like this adult-themed book that's always on the shelf. It's like a, adult fantasy series, I guess. It's a fuck book.
It's bagged, so...
It's bagged so kids can't just start looking through it. But we always make fun. We always call it jungle sluts because that's what it is. And it seems like a ridiculous premise. Funny. Well, we had a smaller crowd last night, and we were making fun of it again, and the owner who was there with us handed me a copy, and I started flipping through it and describing, because we still had like one young, like a teenager there, so I didn't want to just show the pictures to everybody, so I just described them in a way that wouldn't be offensive, like as least offensive as I could be, and it was disgusting. The whole book was disgusting.
It was like a good, like, little 2-3 man, like, little, like, play of you, me, and
Christina.
Yeah, just looking at it and our facial reactions and the descriptions of the things that was going on.
We read that and went over that book more than we did the book club book.
Yeah.
Way more. And it was hilarious, every part of it. And I would be willing to do that every time. After dark book club. Is that what you said? Book club after dark?
Book club after dark.
And, I was drinking another gigantic beer while I was doing that, so it was a fun time. I enjoyed myself. That was the highlight of my day, I guess.
That was a good...
Jungle Fantasies. And now I might actually buy it just because it's so ridiculous I want to know the story. So what are your hopes and dreams for this upcoming con now? Not the Three Rivers, the Wizard World.
Wizard World?
I don't know how I feel because, like I said, with short notice, I don't know who's going to be there.
I am worried, but
it's hard to do the prep work that we normally do.
But at least until we start seeing like attendees and stuff like that, I'm gonna try to hold off as much negativity as possible because I want it to do well.
I want it to do very, very well, so we have more in the future.
What I would have hoped if they would have done it a couple months ago, or even just like next year.
Yeah, just waited. They must have just had a spot, and they're like, "Hey, let's throw one in here."
Well, because I think somebody at the book club said like it got like a show got canceled someplace else. So what I'm hoping is the people like at least the when it comes to like the actors and like that kind of stuff, just gonna
from that other show might go to this one.
Yeah. Now, granted, that's good. Like the artists and the vendors and stuff probably won't be able to go, but.
I am
at
also...
least the big name people to bring in the crowd because like we could have done like somersaults in the walkways there.
Yeah, last time we went, because there was hardly any vendors. So with such short notice, I don't know. I'm worried about them not coming up with a theme in time because usually like the last Cleveland one was anime. Or they usually have a theme for the weekend, and for the most part, it usually goes with the main celebrities they have. Like a lot of cons say you have the Expanse people there. It will be an Expanse one, or who were the main celebrities at the last one? Was it like a Doctor Who one or something?
Yeah, Cleveland had a decent amount of Doctor Who.
Yeah, so they had like a combo theme. Like they had anime was like the main theme, so most of the events were anime, and then you had Doctor Who, so you had a lot of Doctor Who panels and stuff. Without knowing anything about who, they don't have anybody coming in yet, or at least they don't have it set in stone. We don't know what the theme is. We can't do the prep work of looking up, because if it's an unfamiliar theme to us, like say it's Battlestar Galactica. Yeah. I'd never watched that, so you'd want to look up some information on it. We got nothing. We're going in blind. I still think it'll be we're gonna have fun regardless.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a good time.
As long as they change the fucking security situation. Because the first one we went to, remember? The event panels were outside of the con itself. So every single time we went to cover a panel, we had to go back and forth through security, and they checked our bags every time.
And like a thorough, like...
Yeah, and a thorough.
Like Cleveland, they just kind of like... They just kind of held it. And it doesn't seem like something deadly's in here. Dude,
that fucking security guy probably felt my junk more than the Asian lady did Robert Kraft in Florida. Like... because I went through there so many times, and every single time he was right up in there.
Yeah, because they even had wands and stuff for that one.
Yeah, they had it all. They were really... And that was weird, because there wasn't any kind of shootings or anything around that time.
No.
It was like a quiet time. There wasn't anything in the news. So I don't know why the security... Like, it's fine. I don't mind security being tight. But they should have had it when you entered the building, or like entered the floor, not the actual convention floor. That was kind of dumb. Like, they should have had it right, like, on the other side of the escalators when you come up.
Yeah.
So, as soon as you come in, you go through that, then get your tickets, and then you go just walk around.
And then if you left the actual convention center, when you came back, then you would get it again.
When we went to Cleveland, they had a security, set up as soon as you go onto the con floor, too, which was also separate from the event panels. But their security, they didn't check us the whole time we were there until like the last day at the last minute. And then they just gave us a tag. And then if you had the tag, you'd come and go. Yeah. So their security, I felt, was too lax.
Yeah.
But again, they could have just had the security as soon as you entered the main building, like upstairs or something, before you got your tickets. And that covers everything. And then nobody's going to have a gun or anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know why these conventions don't do that. I feel like it's just whatever organizers or who's in charge of that kind of thing. Maybe, because I'm sure they hire outside contractors for the security. It's not like just Wizard World team. It's a different, contractors. So they probably just like, nope, we're going to set up here. It's like, why? They're so worried about the convention floor. But meanwhile, like at the Cleveland one or the Pittsburgh one, if you had a gun or something and you go to an event panel with a major celebrity, you didn't go through security. So you could just go do whatever. It's like nobody's there to cover it. Nobody would be there to stop you. It's very stupid.
And that's in a very confined space where
it
would take somebody forever to get there to stop whatever was happening.
Yeah, I just don't understand why they had that. All these cons have that set up like that. Then again, like the Steel City cons, do they have like when you walk into the building, like a checkpoint, and then that's it?
But I think that's more to just make sure you got paid for your ticket and had your band.
I think so. That's usually what they don't... I don't remember ever getting checked, but I never brought bags to that one either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we never got... Did we get checked at Three Rivers or Altoona?
No, Three Rivers didn't check you. And that was in a mall. Altoona, when you walk into the building... You went to... No, that was just to get your bands.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there was any kind of... But then again, there's so many like fake guns and stuff there. Altoona's a little different because that's kind of out there. Like if somebody's going to do something there, that's in the middle of nowhere kind of. Like there's nothing around that convention center. I mean...
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like these convention centers... They should definitely need a better security setup at all of them because as we've seen in the past, we've had fucking crazies come into these things and try to, like that guy that tried to shoot the Green Power Ranger.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to bring a gun in or something. I think that was Arizona.
I can't remember where.
I think I think that was a Phoenix show. It wasn't Wizard World, I don't believe. It was just like a random con or something. It's just so weird because sometimes the security is too tight. Sometimes there's barely any presence. I don't know what the standard... Like Cleveland, I feel like that's a town you should probably have more security. But then again, everyone is really cool there.
Yeah.
Everybody seemed very friendly.
Yeah, I mean, the people were nice.
Yeah. The drunken people in the street were, for the most part, nice on St. Patty's Day weekend. Except for the people that were brawling in the daytime, but that was we kind of ran them over, so I understand them being a little peeved. Oh, man. Since we're on convention, might as well go over the rest of our list. We've got Three Rivers coming up.
Three Rivers is coming up.
I'll probably only go to a day of that because it's right before my vacation. So
yeah, like I said, it depends on. I might do two. I got both days off, so and it's not like that's a really far one to where like you need that extra day to recovery from.
Yeah, that's just. I mean, it's probably that's probably like a half-hour drive. It's not that far because it's the waterfront, right?
Yeah, I've never been there.
Me neither. I don't know.
But, like, I think I'm going to go, like, I think one of my days off next week, I'm going to just make a trip up there.
Just to get a little...
Just to get a lay of the land on where it's at and stuff like that. So it's not, like, last minute trying to find where it's at.
Yeah, that's a good idea. How much are tickets for that one? Like $15? $10? I think it's usually pretty cheap.
I think one day's like $10.
See, that's what I like about that one, because they don't do press coverage there.
I think they do have press. Now, like, I don't know if it would be to get in for free or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure that one time I was looking at their website, they had in the selections, they had
See, the
press.
first 2 years I checked, they didn't have anything. Same with Altoona, but it's always worth a try, I guess. Oh, it's probably a little too late, for that one. But again, I don't know. I might spend $10. I also don't want to do a write up on it or anything. No. That's more of a fun con.
The only way that it would be kind of cool, it would be worth it, is like if you signed up for press, and because at Three Rivers there's actual like creators, and like not to take against any of like the independents and people that are trying to sell their stuff, but like there's actual people that have had work in like either the big two or like independent like image stuff, like people that you know their work along with those other guys. So I think the only way that the press pass would be worth if
interview them or something.
Yeah, if they able to work in like interviews.
Which I feel like you could probably just be like, hey, you want to do an interview real quick? And they'd be like, sure. Like, they don't care if you're pressed or not, probably. Because we're very fancy. We have business cards.
Well, I mean, even anyway, it's good press for them if there's a writer of a book and you're like, hey, I do a podcast on just any random thing, but like it'd be cool to get like even like a 5-minute interview just as a part of it. I mean, why wouldn't they do it unless if they have other stuff to do? I mean,
I think most creators.
I'm sure if somebody came to us and wanted to interview us on their podcast,
I'd probably be down.
I mean,
Michael Watson was asking people the other day for his podcast, but it was yesterday, right? Yeah,
I think so. Yesterday or the day before.
Yeah. If I was more into comics, I would have jumped on board on that. But we talk about comics a lot on here, but I think they go like deep into actual like the books.
Yeah.
Like the Marvel books and stuff. And I don't read any current Marvel, and you don't read much, do you, of the current Marvel? So
not Marvel, no. I've been more of a DC guy, but they're
DC fanboy, huh?
Yeah, I get Spider-Man, X-Men, and like some other kind of random characters. Other than maybe, there's some stuff already for trade, but yeah, Marvel hasn't been my
go-to.
I almost get more like independent like stuff from like Image and other like smaller publishers. Like combine them together, I get like almost more of that than Marvel.
Which is a shame because we read Infinity Gauntlet for the book club book, and that was what, 91?
Something like 91, 92, something like that.
It's it was a very solid book. I really liked it. It's just Marvel used to put out some good ass books.
And that's not even saying that the books that they're putting out now are even bad, but it's like, well, they would have they seem to be doing better right now, but they would have a long history there of a couple years of just how they publicated things. Like they would a couple years ago, Score Girl had 3 number 1s within the same calendar year.
Why?
It would either get canceled
and then just bring it back and start over,
or they would end the series, or like it'd be like 1 through whatever, and then Squirrel Girl number 1 would be the next issue, and you would think, oh, at least with that, maybe it would go in like a different direction or something like that.
So it'd be like a continuation.
But yeah, it'd be the same creative team just telling the same story, but they do another.
Whatever happened to just having a series and then just doing different story arcs? Like, why does it have to just start over?
Well, they don't. The highest, I think the highest number book at Marvel right now, and it just got canceled, was like Spider-Man and Deadpool, like a team-up book, and it was like maybe 50 issues.
Shit. Yeah, I don't like when they do the see, there's a few reasons why I never jumped on like the Marvel bandwagon there of just getting, new Marvel titles. One, like you just said, the multiple number one issues. I like like if I'm going to get a series, I just want a series. Yeah. I don't want them to try to make money by making more number ones. Two, the amount of events they do.
Yeah.
And then all the crossovers in the events. So it's like, oh, now I have to buy 20 books just to, like, I don't want to do that because I don't want to read necessarily, say I don't want to read a Hulk book, but they throw them into a as a crossover in the main story. So you kind of feel like you have to read that. Like, I don't like that. And then the price, they're fucking expensive.
Yeah. And I don't want to because DC 5 years, or I think it's closer to 7 years ago now, they did the New 52 and they rebooted everything, and that ran about 5 years, so everything got right around 50 issues if it's from the very beginning books, which there wasn't a whole bunch of those. And then they just had Rebirth again, where they
another reboot.
What they did is they used Rebirth to kind of continue the continuity from New 52, but we're working in a lot of the aspects and things from the continuity before then that the readers and stuff were missing and really wanted back. But but since then, there's not a lot of them has got canceled and been replaced with stuff, but things that have been running since the beginning of that, Batman and The Flash and some other books are up to issue are right around 70, getting ready to start on its 70th issue. So
I just feel like there needs to be more consistency with the stories in the comics, the issue numbers and things like that. If there's a creative team, I would like you said with the Squirrel Girl, I'd rather them just do a whole run if you're going to use the same creative team rather than having a small story arc and then it just starts over and you think it's going a different direction, but it doesn't. What is the point of that?
Because the point, if they didn't do that, that book would die.
So I think if they just start with, another number one, people go, oh, number one.
Yeah, they buy it and then it'll have big numbers, and then for a couple issues it would start to trickle down, and then there's another number one, but then even after so much of doing that, people just don't.
I think the best way for Marvel and probably even DC to get their readership up and their numbers up is to just have less titles. I think there's just too much variety.
Yeah, especially now when you factor in all of the Image stuff, IDW, you got all these other publishers putting out really good stories, really quality work. That is the saturation of the market is a very hot topic and very talked about in the comic community of fans, retailers.
Well, that's why I mainly just read, your Image books or things like that or indie work, because I like to know that there's going to be a set amount of issues and story arcs, and then it'll just be over, and you get that sense of completion. Whereas a Marvel, they're just going to keep rebooting and doing things with these characters, and then there's so many titles. And, for one thing, why do you need more than one title at the same time from a character? So say you have more than one Spider-Man or Hulk or something out there. For somebody that isn't into reading, Marvel books, how am I supposed to just jump in when I don't even know where to fucking go at this point? It's hard to attract new readers that way. Versus, you just have a number one, and then you could jump aboard that, but then 3 months later you have another number one. I mean, I don't know. It's too much. There's too many books.
It's a tricky business.
They're expensive.
They are expensive.
I feel like if you just cut down the number of books and number of titles that are out, and just have longer storylines for them, I think it would just bring in more readers and have them consistent.
So most comics are $3.99 now, so $4. There's been slowly eking and getting closer to only certain special books, and now maybe this thing is getting to that $5 a book level with the same amount of pages. They're not even increasing the page count.
That's why I think which maybe I don't know if they would prefer or not, but I think that probably has something to do with the amount of trades being sold now. More people were buying trades and waiting, but then that's tough too, because if the individual issues aren't selling,
you don't get trades.
Yeah, because they'll cancel the series. But like for me, I prefer
And if it doesn't sell well, it may never get collected in trade.
Yeah, see, I would just prefer to buy a trade of something if it's going to be, whether it's a long series, short series, it's just easier to read that way. And like you said, if they don't sell well in the individual copies, you're not going to get that. But then when books are eking up to $5 a pop, you're not going to sell the individual copies.
Well, then too, though, if they, once, because it's only a matter of time until it happens, that once those issues go to $5 a pop, your trades are going to go up too.
They have to.
Yeah, they just have to.
I just feel like the inflation in comics is going to be the death of comics. It's more like a 90s bubble. The 90s, like what they fucked up with is they started putting out so many variant covers, which they still kind of do to certain titles, but there's so many variant covers. There's too many titles. There was too much mediocre work. People just stopped buying. And that's when they started raising prices and stuff too. And now they're kind of doing that again. Like when I was a kid, you'd go, if you had a couple bucks, you'd buy some comics. Well, now a couple bucks doesn't even get you one comic.
No.
So what they don't even want kids to read the books anymore? Is that what's happening? Or they just assume their parents can afford to buy these expensive books?
Yeah, because I mean, and especially like DC has made a concerted effort to make like different publishing lines within DC, and they have like a kid and more like friendly series of books. And you think like, yeah, those ones should maybe be a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, make them a buck or two.
But then you gotta pay the creator, though. You gotta pay the writer and the artist and the inker and the colorist.
See, I like the manga system. You get these fat fucking books. You get a whole series that just runs for eternity, and usually the same creator or creative team. And they're probably not making bank doing that, like the creators and stuff over there. So, I mean, it sucks on that aspect.
That's probably why series are running for so long, is because they just got to
make their money from selling the book.
Yeah.
See, I just like that model. It's something to follow. I know there's where the beginning is. I could jump aboard. Say I wanted to get into a... fucking doing, Spencer?
Nothing.
Say I wanted to, hop aboard a Tokyo Ghoul or something. I know that, here's the number one. The only number one. Start reading it.
Well, that for us though, but over there, because I think all that stuff shows up in a magazine first.
Yeah, it's different over there. It's
like a magazine, or maybe it's like a trade or something like that. But they will have.
It's like issues.
Yeah, and they will have it would have the newest chapter of Dragon Ball. And then One Piece, and...
Well, that's like how writing used to be. In the 20th century, if you wrote a novel or something, a lot of times it would be published in a periodical first.
Yeah.
So every month or whatever, you get a new like you said, a new chapter or something. But even though, again, you have one number one.
Yeah.
The beginning of the story, and then you could just read, whether there's different story arcs or whatever, it just continues in a flow. There aren't multiple titles or multiple... versions of one fucking story or one character's title. Like, it's just, you don't have multiple Spider-Man titles, you just have one. So I like that. I like that better. It's just, seems easier to get people to jump aboard something when they know there's just a consistent line instead of these fucking, like a tree that just splits off into every direction. Yeah, I don't know where the comic industry is going, but I think they just care more about the movies anyway, probably.
Yeah. Well, it also depends now. You also got to look at the fact that the big main two, Disney owns Marvel, the Warner Brothers owns DC. So you from the top up, there's two groups of it kind of makes us money. We use the licensing now for our movies and shows, which makes the real money. But they could give a fuck all about the nuts and bolts of it.
I feel like the comics are probably going to be reduced to just a way for them to introduce different characters and see how they sell in the comic, like people, what the reaction to them are, and if they should put them in the movies.
Yeah.
Like, I see that coming down the line, like a Ironheart or, the female Thor, whatever it may be. Like, these diverse characters, or if they do actually just create a new character from scratch, they probably would use that, like, their sales in the comics as a reason to maybe put them in the movies. Versus, the old model where they just kind of went with whatever they had licensed.
Yeah.
But so you're under the impression that DC is just better in the comics, though, right?
When it comes to just the actual making the comics and putting them out, yes, I've been a bigger DC fan recently for the past few years, which is so weird, like, because, like, I love Marvel. Marvel was, like, whenever I first got into reading comics, that was what I cut my teeth on, was Marvel. And, like, I got all the, X-Men, Spider-Man, I love that stuff. And then, like, I slowly would be like, well, I should probably get Batman. I mean...
And then that's your downfall.
Everybody gets Batman. And then, so, you just have to get Batman. And then it's like, well, like, the Justice League's cool. You get everybody in there. And then you're like, I kind of like the Flash. I'm going to get his stuff. Oh, Green Lantern's pretty cool. And again, it goes the same way with Marvel too, because like these universes are interconnected, so you get to meet these other characters and can check out their adventures. I just have been more on the DC bandwagon recently.
Well, for a while there, and I got you into it pretty much, was the Valiant universe.
Yeah,
and that was perfect because they just kind of rebooted it in the mid 2000s or the 20-teens. I think it was like 2012 they came back.
Are those the aughts? Is that what they're calling it now? Yeah. Or is that the 2000 after 90? Is that the aughts?
The knots, or I don't fucking know.
I thought it was aughts, but...
The 2000 teens. I think like 2012 or something they rebooted. And then they did like a soft reboot in maybe 2016 with some characters. For us, like, we jumped aboard and that was perfect because now you just have these series. And again, they don't... Like, if you get a Rye book, there's just one continuous Rye series. You don't get multiple Rye series or mini-series. Same with Bloodshot, and I don't know if they're like that now. Maybe they're changing it up, but at least when I was reading them, Bloodshot was a continuous fucking storyline, which I really liked. And then once that ended, they just started another one. There was no fucking multiple number ones. Well, that's not true necessarily because
Bloodshot has had multiple number ones. Yeah. And EXO has multiple number ones.
But again, that kind of went before, like, they had that soft reboot.
Yeah.
Because they had Bloodshot, and then they got Jeff Lemire, and then they kind of did a little soft reboot, and then they just started again. And I think Rye did the same thing, and Quantum and Woody, maybe. Because they didn't just, But at
least with that, like, what Valiant does for the most part, like, with, like, Quantum and Woody, they had that first original run that ran for, like... a little bit over 12 issues. Like, there was like 3 or 4 trades of it. They didn't have their own book. They still showed up and stuff, but they didn't have their own book for like 2 years, and then they came back with like a new number one.
Well, what I like Valiant does is they don't oversaturate their market. So if they have an event, which they usually have 1 or 2 times a year, they'll do an event. And I think one year was like an event which was mainly Rye. Another one was like a Bloodshot heavy event or a Ninjak or something. When they would have an event, whatever books they had out would kind of gear towards that.
Yeah.
And if they, whatever characters were involved in the event, that was it. Like, it was just those people. They didn't have different things out at the same time.
And they only published like maybe 7 or 8 books a month.
You can keep up.
Yeah. So you don't have. Because, I mean, like, even, like, DC, like, Marvel publishes, like, 60 or 70 comics a month. DC might only do, like, 40 to 50, but, well, not so much now, but they're, like, after the whole rebirth, all their titles were, like, twice a month.
Yeah.
So it's like, they have less titles, but you're buying it 2 times a month, so it kind of equals that out. But, like, with the Valiant... they have a very limited amount. So then even if you did kind of have to buy something forever, it's not a dead, it's not going to drive you into debt.
Well, they're good at spacing out their characters too. So say you have a Bloodshot book coming out and they have a main story arc with that. They're not going to have a whole, like, they're not going to release every single character at the same time. So if maybe the Rye series doesn't pick up until the Bloodshot series ends, and then they release that, and like you said, they only have 6, 7, 8 titles a month or something. So if you were only reading Valiant books, that's very doable to read them all.
Yeah, if that was your only thing, yeah.
Yeah, if you're doing that, it's fine. So they don't... With like Marvel, I feel like they shoot themselves in the foot by having too many titles out in a month or something. Or, like you said, twice a month. The reader, you have to pick and choose. You can't just read them all. You're going to go broke.
Especially, because like, what DC did there until recently, they did do the twice a month, but all their books were $2.99 instead of $3.99.
See, that's a little better.
So you're like, it's still kind of like $6 compared to the $4, but you get more product, you know.
We know how you solve your money woes. Stop reading comics. Start reading fine literature.
Fuck you.
As you see, my literature collection, it's not cheap. It's
well, you get that fancy shit.
Yeah, you don't have to get that, but even so, the cheap fucking paperbacks sometimes are $15.
Yeah,
it's like, why is my War and Peace? Well, that's not true because you can get the real generic ones for $5.
Yeah,
usually most bookstores have a real cheap version. As long as, I mean, if you're just down to read it, you can find it free on the internet.
I can say what's those like run on Kindle, like on your Kindle.
It depends because a lot of classic literature you get for free.
Yeah, or
you can get like say a Dostoevsky or something. I found they'll actually have the whole bibliography for like $1. Maybe, I mean, the most expensive one I've seen is probably like a $10 one, and that would be like a more modern writer, like maybe Ernest Hemingway or something, have everything he has ever written. Or like I said, I saw that Stephen King collection. It was like an e-book you can download. It was $40, and it was everything he's ever done.
That's well worth it.
Yeah. For me, I just like, and especially the fancy editions, I just like actually having the physical classics.
It looks nice.
It looks nice, and then I actually read mine, though. Like, I'm sure some people buy them just to have on the shelf, but I like to read them from there, too. But it depends, because if it's too fucking heavy, like, I got Anna Karenina, and that's like thousands. That's an epic. It's huge. So I'm probably not going to read the physical copy. I just get the download.
That's like a while ago, I had a gift card for up at the comic book store that has the book club, Pittsburgh Comics. If you're in the area, you should
check it out.
With the Valiant, they have that when comics they have these things called omnibuses, which are like huge
collections of
like everything or big runs of stuff. They're like $100, but they're like you could murder somebody with them very easily.
But it's nice because one looks good on the shelf. Yeah. Two, you got all the books.
Yeah. But like I did that with the old Ninjak series.
So you got them all.
I flipped through it, but I ain't reading that thing. No. I need a book stand to read that thing.
Well, they gotta be better than the shitty Silver Surfer one you let me borrow, right?
Oh,
that was all black and white, and it was like every Silver Surfer book for I don't know how long, his first run or something.
Yeah,
but it was like ridiculous. Food's here.
Food.
And on that note, that's been Comic Talk with DPW.
Yeah.
With your main man, Caleb, the Jazz Master James, and Spencer, the Donkey.
I was gonna say maybe this was the one that I get like just a normal name.
You know what? I cut myself off. I was gonna call you Donkey Lover actually, but see you later, folks.
Bye.